Hi all, Yankee Farm Wife here. As if watching the collapse of democracy in America wasn't catastrophic enough, especially for those of us who live here, watching the corrosion of Dicktraitor John's already limited brain function is shockingly lurid. His talking points have deteriorated to only a few oft-repeated phrases, one of which he used at the recent G7 conference. Now, the agreed-upon agenda was to include discussing protecting communities worldwide, building energy security, and accelerating the digital transition and securing partnership for the future. All rather important and timely, right? What did Trump want to discuss? First, he urged the group to readmit his homie, war criminal Vladimir Putin, with whom I'm sure he'd been up half the night giggling on the phone planning their little speech. I imagine they'd like to make it a V8 conference, V for Vladimir, who I'm sure would be happy to host the next Congress in Kremlin, and Donny would be the only one to attend, lips puckered and knee pads inserted next to what was that bag thing strapped to his leg underneath his pants?
The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But it didn't work out that way.
Okay, so with serious business to discuss, our dictator decided to repeat again his spiel about Biden letting criminals into the country.
Biden allowed 21 million people to come into our country. Of that, vast numbers of those people were murderers, killers, people from gangs, people from jails. They emptied their jails out into the U.S. Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
Now, the math is very interesting on this. In August of 2016, the Department of Homeland Security published the number of convicted immigrant criminals as 368,574. That was the end of Obama's term, and an unknown number of those were incarcerated or detained. Now, in June of 2021, Homeland Security posted the count as 405,451. The list grew by 37,000. Biden was president for all of 5 months of that. The rest came in under Trump. Now, during Biden's presidency, DHS removed, you ready? 180,000 non-citizens with criminal convictions from the country. And what Trump is doing is removing our labor force. But who wants facts when distortion is so much more divisive? Anywho, the Canadian Prime Minister, who may still be Trudeau if you ask Donny, cut off our dear dictator who, when pouted, stamped his foot and ran away home. Wee. French President Emmanuel Macron did the favor of trying to cover Donny's ample ass by saying he ditched them early to try to diffuse rising animosity in the Middle East, but our leader didn't realize his integrity had just been saved and attacked through the inappropriately titled Truth Social. Quote, publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit in Canada to go back to D.C. to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Wrong! He has no idea why I am now on my way to Washington, but it certainly has nothing to do with a ceasefire. Much bigger than that. Whether purposely or not, Emmanuel always gets it wrong. Stay tuned. Now, by the way, we now get our news through Truth Social and the outlet formerly known as Twitter because, dear Dicktraitor, or may I just call you Dickie, because Dickie would like us to have only state-approved media outlets circulate his propaganda, which is why his spokes Barbie, as opposed to his ice Barbie, just announced that the press corps would now be hand-selected by dear leader himself. Very tricky, Dickie. He also posted, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, in parenthesis, Kill! Exclamation point. At least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wait, all of a sudden he cares about human life, aside from his immediate own self? Now, on top of that, my 5th grader grandson could have done a better job of writing that. It was almost incoherent. In any case, he then demanded unconditional surrender, all caps. To whom? When? Where? Does a demand for surrender even count when done through social media? I'm sorry, but all I could picture was the Wicked Witch of the West tracing "Surrender Dorothy" with her flaming broomstick in the sky above Oz. Early social media. Also, Dickie, you had to bail on the G7 so you could tweet from DC? Last I heard, Canada had high-speed internet. Even the moose knows that. And by the by, how do you demand surrender from a country that we aren't at war with? But are we at war? It seems important people in the know should know. Like, I don't know, maybe Ted Cruz?
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Oh, it seems our tricky Dick had accidentally outed the unannounced war that we are in Iran on social media by demanding surrender. By the way, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei told them to stuff it. Now, why on earth would we want Iran to surrender to us when they are at war with Israel, unless...
With Donald Trump able to pull off something that not even Apple has been able to do? Not quite. So, ignoring the political nature of all this, let's talk about Trump Mobile and the T1 smartphone. So, Trump Organization has announced their new carrier. So it's Trump Mobile. So they're not really running their own network. They're just an MVNO, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Mint, many others do this, and they're very reliable at affordable prices. But besides that, they're also announcing their own signature smartphone, the T1. Now, they even claim that this phone is made in America. The best we can tell is that this is just a reskinned version of the T-Mobile Revel 7 Pro 5G. The specs all basically line up, though it has slightly shifted cameras. That smartphone is made by a company called Wingtech, which is owned by Luxshare, and it is made, you guessed it, in China. Now, that's not to mean the new T1 will also be made there, but what it could more likely happen, it could be basically produced in China and then brought to the US to put a custom case on it and count it made in America, right? There's no precision at this point. It's just literally dropping things into maybe a case and sealing everything up. That could be the extent of made in America on this version of the Trump phone. This thing is supposed to launch this September to compete with the iPhone 17 line, but we'll see what happens. the Revel 7 Pro 5G is just not a great smartphone. It's honestly pretty terrible. And if you Google it, like the first thing that pops up is like, is this phone garbage or is it just me? It's pretty garbagey. It's actually a $250 phone, and that's full MSRP, though it's like right now on Amazon for $169. You can buy this phone for $169, and Trump Mobile is selling it for $500, which just seems extra egregious. Though, of course, on that $169 version, you don't get the gold casing. It says it has a 5,000 milliamp hour long life camera. I assume they mean battery?
Yeah, unless Tricky Dicky stands to make a ton of money on his new smartphone company, which I assume they're launching to support the Trump family when their crypto scheme collapses yet again. First off, the claim that the phones will be made in America is already proven false. They will be made in, drumroll please, China, and will be subject to tariffs, which will be added into the Americans paying price. Now, no skin off of China's teeth. They don't pay anything for tariffs. We do. Second, what is it cell phone manufacturers need to make our phones? Is it rare earth minerals? A quick Google search gave me this. Or maybe it's all just to divert attention from the little hissy fit that Dickie threw at the G7. But what do I know? I'm just an old Yankee farm wife in Meemaw who wishes that horse manure was another excellent source of rare earth minerals. Is it? Please? Before I sign off, I do want to urge the rest of the world, don't give up on us. Boycott us. Cut us off from polite society. Don't drink our whiskey or our beer. Don't buy our cars. We will get over it. We really will survive. The Republicans in Washington are strangers to us. They have forgotten who we are as a country. The vast majority of us, we are doing everything we can. As you might have noticed on No King's Day, I was out there with everyone else. It was great. To those who demonstrated with us around the world, thank you. We are so grateful. We can turn this at the midterms if Tricky Dicky doesn't find a way to halt the elections. And if he does, I think he will regret it. Oh yes, and to the leaders of the G7 who did their very best to pretend they were dealing with a rational human being, nice job. But the smirks playing around the edges of your mouths, it was priceless, beautiful. We see you. Sincerely, the Yankee farm wife. Hi all. Just a quick little explanation of where I've been. Here I will. Little list of reasons. It's been a really rough stretch. We had a lot of losses. I had lost my friend Joe, and then lost my friend Drew, who was dying. It was expected, but it still clobbered me. And then we lost the matriarch of our family at almost 91, Nanny. And that was a real kick in the teeth. Lost one of my best old mares, Adele. I rescued her probably over 20 years ago. And she had kidney failure. She was very old. And then I lost a little pony named Phoebe June, who wasn't very old, but she had bladder cancer. And then the worst thing happened. I don't know why. I mean, Agnes Amelia has had a lot of health problems in the past year, but she threw up one morning. I just called the vet and left a message, and I said, I'm going to bring her in. Ran next door to feed everybody, came back to bring her to the vet, and she had died. Now, she was my best friend. She was my muse. Wasn't okay. But then, I think I was pretty much done losing people. Then I got pneumonia. I was in bed for a week, and then after pneumonia, I don't know who of you has had sciatica, but I had a back surgery like 20-something years ago, and this herniated disc that had fragmented, and they removed the piece, and there's this whole big 2 surgeries it took. And anyway, so had to go to the orthopedic surgeon. There's nothing left between the 2 discs. There's nothing left between the 2 vertebrae. So anyway, I'm 3 weeks into physical therapy because they won't do an MRI until I do 6 weeks of physical therapy. Oddly enough, the PT is helping. So I can walk with less pain, you know, that burning that starts at the top of your leg and runs all the way down. Those of you with issues with 4 and 5, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm back. I'm gonna try really hard to maintain. A little lost without my dog. I'm still lost without my dog, and I lost her on May 1st. Anyway, all right, so lots of work to do. Trump has lost his mind. He was always kind of dumb. He was always kind of and now his brain is deteriorating, so we have a lot of work to do. So let's get back to it, and just keep the pressure on and keep going to the demonstrations. Keep going. I go to all of them. I will continue to go to all of them, certainly in my area. All right, everybody. Love you. Thank you for hanging in there and being patient, and I'll go write another script because he did more stupid stuff today. It's great. It's great. I don't even have to try. All right, take care.